Hi. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you 5 things that I do before my interview to ensure that I get the job before I ever attend the actual interview. Oh yes, you may be listening to this thinking, Melvis, what are you on about? There are 5 things that I do every single time before my interview, and I believe that the reason I have been successful in every single job interview I've had in the UK and in my career as a nurse is because of these 5 things that I do. So just to put a little bit of context, in 2011, I moved to the UK as an international student, and I was also working as a Band 1 carer. But between that time and now, I have progressed to now having a Band 8B advanced nurse practitioner job. So basically, to put this into context, I left from Band 1 to Band 2 to Band 3, Band 4, Band 5, Band 6, Band 7, Band 8A, 8B. So that is remarkable progress in one's career. And to think that, obviously, in the UK, many nurses are Band 5 and they will never actually go beyond Band 5. So when you look at the level of progress that I have had, it is not your usual sort of progress, and this is not something that is happens by luck. This is not something that I sit and say, oh, I'm really lucky. No, it is because I'm intentional at every stage of my nursing journey. Is because the level of effort that I put in my interviews and in my career, look, the average person is not able to put in that effort. So that's why I'm doing this video, to tell you the 5 things that I do from when I actually receive an invitation to an interview right through to when I actually go for the interview. What 5 things do I do? And by the way, if you're new to the channel, it's such a pleasure to have you. Welcome here. If you're a returning subscriber, it's also always a privilege to have you. My heart goes out to you. And if you haven't subscribed, do hit subscribe right now. Turn on that notification button, because you want to be the first to be notified every day when I drop a video here on YouTube. Yes, I drop a video every single day, 8 a.m. prompt. I'm dropping a new video on here because I want you to have that accountability. I want you to succeed. I want you to excel. I want to share the experiences that I've had, across my career, from networking, interacting, progressing. I want to make sure that I'm sharing those tips with you and I'm learning from you as well, because this is a two-way process. Some of the things that people send or write or ask, they make me think, oh yeah, of course, why haven't I thought about this? So you want to watch this till the very end. Now let me get to the point without wasting too much time. So when I apply for a job, and I get I get that email saying, Melvis, congratulations, we have shortlisted you for an interview. What do I do? The first thing that I do when I receive that email is that I immediately confirm my attendance, at the interview. Why do I do this? So let me tell you, NHS organizations, or many organizations in the UK, they use a software to organize their interviews, and this particular software allocates interviews on a first come first served basis. What this means is that if we shortlist, if we are, for example, recruiting for a job, let me just put this into context. If we decide to shortlist 5 candidates, if we send an email out to those 5 candidates, whoever confirms first is going to get the first interview slot. Whoever confirms second is going to get a second interview slot. Whoever confirms third, and that's how it works. So for me, when I'm going to an interview, I always want to be the first candidate to be interviewed. All the times. I never want to be interviewed second. I want to be the first person in that room to be interviewed. And let me tell you why. Recruitment is a very stressful process. No manager, no organization, nobody wants to be recruiting. But people recruit because they've got no choice but to recruit staff. If you don't have staff, you need to recruit. I understand that. So I try to put myself in the shoes of that recruiting manager. When you're recruiting, the first person that you're interviewing, the first day of the interview, you're still very energized, you're still very energetic, you're enthusiastic about the candidate, you're looking forward to seeing them. And so for me, I want to be that first candidate that the panel is actually interviewing. And this is because when I go in there, I make sure that I'm so prepared. I leave such an impression that the other candidates don't stand a chance. So by the time I get in first to be interviewed, when I'm leaving that room, their minds are already made up. Melvis, you've got the job. This is exactly who we want. The way you've presented yourself, the way you've spoken, this is what we need. And that is my intention for going for the interview first. Everybody's still enthusiastic then. Even the other candidates, So this is the reason why I always confirm immediately, because I want to be interviewed first when everybody's enthusiasm is still very, very high. And because the impression that I always leave during the interview is such that no other candidate can actually beat my performance. And what this means is that by the time the other people are being interviewed, they already know that, look, they are literally just comparing me with the other candidates. And what this means is that I've got the job, because they're just going to be start thinking, Melvis was so good, I don't think you've got, you know about this. Or I think, Melvis, we've already found a candidate, basically. And that's the reason I always confirm first. So that's what I do first, obviously. Then the second thing that I do is, once I've confirmed my attendance at the interview, obviously immediately I get the email, I always confirm that. Then the second thing that I do, therefore, is email whoever is recruiting. So when they send you that email to say that you've been shortlisted, there's always an email to contact in case of any emergencies or if you can attend or anything. So once I confirm, the next thing I do is send an email. I always send an email saying, thank you very much for shortlisting me for this opportunity. I'm really looking forward to the interview on the 5th of March 2023, and really I cannot wait. It's very simple email, plain. That's what I do. And let me tell you again why I do this. Effective communication is something that is very important in every job. Nursing, most especially, because I'm a nurse. By the way, in case you don't know, I have a private coaching program where I support nurses, carers, student nurses with career progression in the UK. So if you want to have the best job in the UK, you're a carer, you're thinking, oh my goodness, is this all there is to me? What else can I do? You want to transition into nursing, into healthcare, non-clinical positions, then consider joining my private coaching program. If you're a nurse, you just want to be more productive, you're thinking of specializing, but you're not sure how to go about it or what to specialize in, again, you must join the private coaching program. If you're thinking of studying nursing and you're like, oh my God, should I not? What pathways are available for me? Again, you want to check it out. Or if you're just looking for a sponsorship job, you want the best positions in healthcare in the UK, again, you can join the program, because I'm going to be supporting you one-to-one, to make sure that you thrive and you achieve whatever goal you want. And obviously, you also have the opportunity to meet other members of the program, to have a chat. We have a live session every week on Thursdays from 8:30 p.m. UK time. So if you join, then you have access to all those resources. I help you with your CV, interview preparation. So you do want to make sure that you check out that program, because look, if you're watching this video right now, then that program is definitely 100% for you. So you want to check it out. I'm going to leave a link to it in the description box below. So make sure you check it out and do join. So like I was saying, when you send that email out, obviously in an interview, the interviewer is trying to see who is the best candidate. Yes. But one thing that people are sick and tired of hearing in interviews is, I've got good communication skills, I can work well under pressure. Managers are tired of hearing that. So for me to demonstrate that, I make sure that I start before I ever get recruited. So when I send that email, and if you're the recruiting manager and you receive the email, you're going to be like, wow, this candidate has gone as far as sending us an email to confirm. This is really good. And let me tell you another tip. Let me tell you what will happen. Because the fact that I have confirmed first, and instantly, it's going to also reassure them, because sometimes when you're shortlisting, you don't know whether the candidates are going to turn up for the interview. Some people don't even accept the interview invite at all. Other people accept and don't turn up. So when you're recruiting, you're always having those worries like, oh, is this person going to turn up or not? So by confirming straight away, I've already reassured that recruiting manager that I'm going to be there. Then by sending the email again to thank them and to confirm, is also showing that I'm a very serious candidate and I'm keen on that particular job. And let me tell you one thing that those managers do when you send that email. When I send that email, what they will do is they're going to go back to my profile and say, wow, this candidate is really going all out. Not only is she the only person that has confirmed her attendance so far, but she's gone as far as sending us an email to still say she's coming. So they'll check your profile again. They'll go back to the job advert, have a look at your profile, and they'll say, oh my God, Melvis, she's a nurse, she had a first-class degree, she's worked in XYZ hospital, she's done this. They'll be like, oh my God, this is what we need. Already, before you ever get into the interview room, you are already getting the job. You're building a profile for yourself. And this is why, if you've not been doing this, these are free tips. You need to start doing that. And better still, if you join my program, then I'll work with you to make sure that you're getting these skills and it's not just talk. Because like I say, managers are sick and tired of hearing candidates say the same old words in all single interviews. So You want to make sure that you're taking notes as I'm talking about all of this. And again, if you haven't subscribed, do hit subscribe. Share this with your friends, with your colleagues, your loved ones, so that they can learn these interview tips and be able to get the jobs that they want, progress, succeed, and excel. Because that's what I want. We all deserve to have the best nursing lives that we ought to have. So that's the second thing, send the email. The third thing that I do is research about the organization. Oh yes, I take time to research, what is this organization up to? What are their values? What are they currently struggling with? What are their challenges? What are they doing so well? Have they been on the news? If they have been on the news, is it because of something good or bad? Is it positive, negative? Are they into innovation? If they're into innovation, what are they currently working on? When I'm looking at those things, I'm thinking about possible things to suggest when I go to the interview. So I'm not looking at those things just to keep for myself, because look, when I'm going to an interview, there is research that I do, and there are things that I must say in that interview. No matter where, whether I'm asked or not, there are things that I need to talk about during my interview, and I make sure that I find the perfect opportunity to bring that in. Because when you bring those things in, those managers don't expect that you're going to know that. So they'll be so impressed, they'll be suddenly thinking, oh my God, Melvis, you're exactly what we need. And so by the way, if you're going to an interview with me and I do all of this, leave a comment below. Do you think you stand a chance? I just want to hear what you think, this kind of elaborate and thorough preparation. And also, I want to leave a comment below saying, Melvis, I will implement, because I don't want to be doing these videos for nothing. I'm doing it so that you can implement these and we all succeed and excel. So leave a comment in the comment section and say, Melvis, I will implement this. And also, if you are enjoying the content, I want you to like the video, because it just motivates me and makes me know that you're enjoying the type of videos that I'm doing, because otherwise there's no need for me doing these videos. So please, if you enjoy the content, like the video. If you want any recommendations, do leave them in the comment section, and remember to leave that Melvis I will implement. So when I'm doing the research about the organization, if I don't find anything tangible, I look at the reviews. What are the reviews from people that have been in that particular hospital or organization? When I look at those reviews, they're going to give me a lot of information. And then when I go to the interview, and then obviously I would have prepared things in advance. I then talk about those things. Like I've said, you don't need to wait until you're asked before you talk about certain things, but you need to be smart in how you're answering your questions so that you can include the things that you found, for example, from all of that, research and all of the fact finding that you've done. So that's why I do that research about the organization. This also shows to the recruiting manager that you're really interested in that job, you're keen on the organization. And if there's a change, something that I can implement or that I can suggest for them to implement, I also bring it forward. Because look, when I'm going to these interviews, the only objective I have is one, get the job. The second objective I have is that once I get the job, I want to leave such an impression that they see me as a candidate for those senior positions later on. Because I'm going to tell you this, the mistake that people make is focusing on only getting that job. But what I think about is, after I've gotten the job, what happens? What impression do I want to leave in the recruiting manager, even when I've started the job? Because when you perform well at your interview, anytime that your manager thinks about you, or anybody who's been part of that interview, they already know that you're a good worker. So by the time you ever start working, when good opportunities come up, they're going to be like, Melvis, we think you're perfect for this opportunity, girl. When you put an application in for funding, if you want to do a course, they're going to be like, Melvis, you've been so good, we're so happy to support you. That's how you get support. When you have any challenges at work, any struggles, and you go forward to your manager and you say, look, I'm really struggling with this, you know what they're going to tell you? Yes, we're going to support you because you're such a good worker. So these three things that I've talked about so far, you must implement them in your own practice. If you think they're going to help, but look, 100% they will help. I'm talking about this. Some people join my private coaching program, and when I tell them about the processes that they ought to be following, some people are like, oh my God, Melvis, I didn't know that these things were important. And I'm like, of course they are. It is important. The act of getting an interview is a skill. It's not just thinking about, what do I have to prepare? No. And note something, that by the time I'm applying for the job, I already know the content of the actual interview, in the sense that when I'm shortlisted, I'm not preparing for the interview like, oh, what is this job about? No, because I never apply for a job, if I'm not ready for the interview, in the sense of the actual content of the job role and person specification and all that. And that is the reason why when I'm shortlisted, I'm focusing on all these things that other candidates don't do. because those are the extras that enable me get every single job interview that I'm going for. And look, I've done quite a few job interviews since my nursing career, and I've had every single one of them successful. And what the manager said to me is, Melvis, your passion, the things that we didn't even expect that you're going to know that. And look, you were the candidate with the least experience in terms of time, because I haven't been qualified as a nurse for long, but I've progressed so quickly. And that's because I focus on efficiency. I don't focus on time. Oh, I've been qualified for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I don't care about time. What I'm focused on is how efficient can I be? What is going on right now in nursing? Is there something I can do to make things different? And that comes across during my interviews. The passion, the enthusiasm is not enough to sit there and say, yeah, I'm really passionate about the job. I've always wanted to be a nurse practitioner. Nobody cares. You need to be really out. You sit up, head high, shoulders out, confidence. Because even if you don't know what you're talking about, the confidence with which you express it is going to make people to give you that job and give you that benefit of a doubt and say, look, you are the best candidate. And so all these things that I'm telling you are to make the recruiting manager know that you are the best candidate. And that is always my objective. I want them to know that, look, I am the best candidate for this job. And if you recruit me, if you give me the chance and give me the opportunity, you're never going to regret this. Because when you're recruiting, you always have that doubt in your mind thinking, oh my God, are we going to get the right person? If we don't get the right person, are we going to start the process all over? Nobody wants to be recruiting, but it's because people don't have a choice. So please, when you're going for job interviews, think about the recruiting manager. If you were the person recruiting, what would you be looking out for? If you were the person recruiting, what concerns and worries would you have about the candidate? So when I think about that, then I preempt the solutions for those things long before I ever go into the interview, just to reassure the people who are interviewing to say, look, you didn't make a mistake to shortlist me. I'm the best candidate. And look, this is what I've got to bring to the table and bring to this job. So again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe, turn on that notification button, because I drop a video here on YouTube every single day. So you want to be notified when I do that, and make sure you come and check it out, because it's all about supporting all of us to progress, to excel, and to thrive in our, careers here in the UK or wherever you are, if you're out of the UK right now. And then, so those are the first 3 things I do. The 4th thing that I do, remember there are 5 things here, so there's still 2 more tips that I'm going to give you. So the 4th thing that I do is visit the area. I physically go to the place. Obviously, if you're out of the UK, for example, or you're not able to travel to the site, it's different, But if you're able to travel to the place, to see the place, you need to go there. So what I do is I actually go there. And let me tell you one thing. When I go there, I don't introduce myself as a candidate coming for the interview. Many interviews always invite candidates to come for formal visits. I don't do those formal visits because I don't want to go, and start talking to the people recruiting before the interview. No, I want to do that through email. I want them to see me, to meet me the first time during the actual interview. But I want to just be having that virtual conversation, through email, just to show my communication skills. And that's communication, that's diligence, and that is determination. So it's not enough to go to an interview and say you've got good communication skills, but you've got to demonstrate those skills, in how you communicate. So basically, I visit the area, and let me tell you what I do when I get there. I speak to the staff. So if you're applying for a job, for example, to work in a particular hospital or a particular ward, you can go there, talk to the people that are already working there. When I go, this is what I say to them. I introduce myself. Hi, my name is Melvis. I am a nurse. I'm considering applying for a job in this place. What advice would you give me? Simple. That's what I say. And I ask this to different people. I ask this to the cleaners, to the porters, to the doctors, to the nurses, to the housekeeper, the ward clerk. I speak to different people, just to get that perspective and to say, look, this is what I'm applying for. What would you advise? Would you advise me to work here? And they will tell you exactly what challenges they're facing. They will tell you what's going well, what's not going well. And let me tell you one very important thing as well. I ask about the people that are going to be interviewing me, because I've got the names and I've got the roles. And I say to them, look, I'm going to be interviewed by Mirabelle. What's Mirabelle like? That's me saying within myself, and I ask the person, I say, oh, I've seen that your matron is called Mirabelle. What's the matron like? And they'll be like, oh, she's so lovely. She's really supportive. I've worked here. And I'm like, oh, how long have you worked here? They'll say, I've worked here for 3 years. It's the best place I've ever worked. This place is so amazing. Or they'll say to you, Mirabelle, you don't want to come here. She is XYZ, XYZ. Those things don't determine whether I attend the interview or not, but they help me to know how to approach that interview, how to approach the people. Very important, because you already have an idea. I know that everybody is, everybody can make up their own ideas about, whoever is their manager. But look, there's always some element of truth, because when you're talking to a stranger, these are people that I don't know. I'm a stranger to them. That's factual information. I take it very seriously. And so when I go to an interview, I have that informed decision. I know what Mirabelle's like. I know what Claire's like. I know what, these are just random names, by the way. But it just helps me to know that. So that's the purpose of that visit. I look around the area. What's the morale of the people like? What's going on? And look, just to put this into perspective, I once had a job. And after I spoke to the staff, I decided to turn that job down. This was before I decided I was going to be physically going to all my, interview places before the interview. I used to go after the interview. So I had this job, then I visited the place, and, you know, it was a lot of negative energy for me. I had so much negative energy from everybody there. And I thought to myself, no, I cannot accept this job. And I turned that job down. And ever since that, I decided that instead of visiting the place, after my interview, I need to visit before the interview. So that's how I came about this visiting before. Because when you get that information, it helps you to decide. It helps you to approach the interviewers, because doing research on who is going to interview you is very important. And this leads me beautifully to the next point. Still under this, research about the particular area or visiting the particular place. One thing that I also do is, if the person interviewing me, for example, is a chief nurse or it's a head of nursing, because obviously in nursing, whoever interviews you is always above the level that you're applying for, which means that if you're a band 5 nurse, you need to have somebody who is more senior, interviewing you, which means that the higher you grow in nursing, the more senior people you're going to get interviewing you, because they always have to be senior than the role you're applying for. And what this does for me is that I do extensive research on the positions of those people that are going to be interviewing. What do I mean? If I have a ward manager interviewing me, I'm going to make sure that I understand the role of a ward manager. I try to put my shoe in their, to put myself in their shoe to see how it is that they're going to think, how the ward managers think, what are they struggling with, what do they do so well, what do they expect from staff? Because when somebody's interviewing you, even though they're interviewing you for a different job, their mindset is the mindset of the person that is doing that job that they are doing, which means that if a chief nurse is interviewing me, I know that chief nurses deal with a lot of corporate work. They're not dealing with ward management and staff management and all of that. They are more corporate, which means that the way I'm going to be talking about my answers is going to be more towards that corporate side of nursing, because they're going to be able to relate to that. And this is a mistake that people are making. If you're going to an interview, you need to put yourself in the shoe of the person interviewing you, because the more you understand their own job, the better you're going to be able to present yourself to them. And so for me, it's very important. I know the different jobs of, if there are 3 people interviewing me, I need to make sure I know something about each of their roles, their expectations, and then try to, talk about my answers towards that direction. Because if you have a band 6 nurse interviewing you, band 6 nurses are still on the ward, clinical management, the way they think is going to be different. But if you have a chief nurse, for example, interviewing you, look, you need to up your game when it comes to management skills, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to, bringing change, because that's what they do on a daily basis, and that's what they'll be expecting. If you can just supersede that expectation, if you can go above and beyond to prove to them that, look, even though I'm only applying for a band 7 position, but I already have an excellent understanding of leadership, of corporate management, they're going to be like, wow, this is exactly who we need. Because look, she is a band 6 nurse now. She's applying for a band 7 position, but look at how well she understands this already, which is for senior levels. That is also going to help you, because once I start that job, they're going to know that she's leadership material. Melvis is good for opportunities, and that's how it works. Because when you then put yourself forward to get those jobs, they are going to recommend you and sign. Because remember that the people that are interviewing you are going to be your bosses, they're going to be your managers when you start work. So if you can make the best first impression, it's always going to be stuck in their brains, and that's what you want. Because when they see you around the corridors, and you're like, hello, matron, how are you doing? They're like, hey, Melvis, yeah, fine. How is everything going? Well, good, good. You give them a few tips about how things are going. If there's anything you're working on, that's time to throw it out there. Because again, if you need to progress in your career, you want to do any courses, apprenticeships, these are the same people that are going to sign you off. So you want to make sure you're keeping a very good relationship with them. Really important. That's part of networking. That's part of career progression. It is difficult to progress in any career without the network. It is not possible. People don't realize this, but network is so important. And the more senior I've grown in my nursing career, the more I've seen that network is even more important. The higher you go, the more you're going to need that solid network for you to be able to progress. So you need to, bear that in mind. So that was the fourth point. The fifth point is that depending on how long I've got between getting that invite for interview and getting the actual interview, there's one thing that I do as well. Before my interview, let's say a day or two before the interview, I send another email. Of course I do. I send another email to the person recruiting and say, look, I'm so looking forward to my interview on Thursday, the 5th of June at 9 a.m. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. See you then. You know why I do this? The reason I do this is because sometimes when candidates are shortlisted for interviews, they don't attend the interview, even though they've confirmed their attendance. Because life gets in the way, things happen, you change your mind about the job, you change your mind about relocating, you change your mind about all sorts of things, or maybe you don't have childcare or anything. You can just sit and think, oh, I'm not able to make it to this interview. So the person who is recruiting always has in mind that there is a possibility that that candidate is not going to turn up, even though they've confirmed the interview. And this is why I send that email again to reassure the person recruiting so that they know that, oh, actually, we're expecting Melvis. Melvis is going to be there. Again, this shows my communication skills. This shows my dedication to the job. This shows my passion for this particular position. And it's going to make me stand out from all the other candidates because look, I can 99.99% guarantee you that other people are not going to do this. Because remember, I've sent at least 2 emails now, as well as my confirmation. Because again, they're going to sit and think, oh my God, Melvis. By the time they sit, during the interview, before the interview, they're going to be like, what are you looking forward to interviewing this candidate, Melvis? She's been so good, She was the first to confirm her attendance. Not only that, she sent an email to thank us, but most importantly, she just sent an email again yesterday to say she's going to be attending the interview tomorrow. This is the sort of person that we want. All these conversations are taking place long before the interview ever takes place. And you see, that is the difference with when you're trying to progress in your career and you're taking that career progression as a real, proper, full-on professional. Or some people are just like, yeah, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we try again. No, that's not the attitude to take to an interview. When you're going to an interview, you've heard how you prepare. You need to be 100% sure. My only objective is beat all the other candidates, give them zero chance of success whatsoever to make sure that I get the job. Of course, but my efficiency with communication doesn't only end when I get the job. Even even after the interview, I still email them to say, look, thank you for the opportunity. It was such a pleasure meeting the 3 of you, and I wish you all the best. And I'm looking forward, if I'm given the opportunity, I'm so looking forward to working with you because, the energy that I felt during that interview was so positive. And look, we're going to make a great team together. When you send that email, they're going to be like, wow, this is what we need. How good is she? That's what I'm saying. So you need to go the extra mile to get these jobs. You need to make sure that you're doing what no one else is doing. You need to make sure you're putting yourself forward. You need to make sure that you're not shying away. Be smart, be brave, That's what's going to make you to succeed, to excel, to thrive. Because the higher you go in your career, the more of these skills you're going to need and the tougher the interviews become, which means that what differentiates you from the other candidates is not your clinical ability, but it's the extra trimmings that you're going to bring with yourself and into the job. So leave a comment in the comment section. Tell me the best tip that you've enjoyed. Tell me what you're going to implement and say, Melvis, I will implement. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're still waiting for. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification button because look, you want to be the first person to be notified every single day. Yes, every day when I drop a video here on YouTube because I'm on a mission to make sure that all of us succeed, excel, and thrive in our careers. And again, if you want to join my private coaching program, I cannot recommend this enough because then I'll be able to work with you on a close, on a more personal basis. And obviously, if you're not part of my program, obviously you can leave comments below. when I've got time, I can come and have a look at them. But outside of these videos, I can only work and support people that are part of my private coaching program, because it just keeps me focused. It just gives me, I know everybody who is part of it. I know what they're working towards. It's a lot easier to give that personalized, dedicated advice rather than give more generic advice that may not be relevant for you. So you want to consider checking it out, joining in, because we have a beautiful family of nurses, carers, student nurses, and people that are applying for clinical, non-clinical healthcare jobs as well. Because I've done other videos about these roles. Check out the channel to see these other videos, go through them. If there's any recommendations you have, I'm more than welcome them. And like I say, I only do videos that people are asking me about things that people are interested in, because there's no need doing videos that nobody cares about. Otherwise, I'm just wasting space, and it's not a good thing. It's a waste of my time, which is not good. We're all busy. So again, remember these 5 things. The first thing is confirm the interview slot. First, be the first person to confirm that interview slot. The second thing is send an email to thank them for shortlisting you. The third thing is research about the organization and make some recommendations on how they can improve their practice or improve whatever it is that they're doing. The fourth thing is visit the place in person if possible. If it's not possible, obviously you can't. If it's like a virtual, or you're out of the UK, or you're out of the country, whatever it is, then you're not able to visit. But the third thing that I do is email again a day or two to the actual interview day to still confirm my attendance. And look, if you do all these 5 things that I've told you, let me know. You're definitely going to get that job, because all the other candidates, they're going to be focused on, oh, what's this interview going to be about? Oh my God, what should I study for the interview? This is not the time. You need to be ready for the interview long before you actually apply for the job. And this is what in my coaching program, this is what I teach people, because some people come and they join and they're like, Melvis, I got my interview tomorrow. Can you help me prepare? And I'm thinking, you've got an interview tomorrow. You should have joined this program 2 years before your interview, because you'll be able to learn those skills. You'll be able to have time to mold you to grow, because like I say, career progression is not a day's job. It takes time, it takes years. Like me, I started this journey in 2011, band 1 carer, student nurse. Now, how many years is it? So it's taken me this long to learn these things that I'm bringing to you in this video. So please, if you've enjoyed the content, like the video, share with your mates, friends, loved ones, colleagues, so that they can benefit from these tips as well, because I'm all about making us have the best nursing careers that we can have. Because not only do you earn more by growing and developing into these senior positions, but you also gain a lot of confidence. And this confidence doesn't only help with your professional life, but it helps your personal life as well. So it is vital. You need to go head up, shoulders high, and be the woman and the man that you are meant to be, to live your destiny, and to make sure that you go for the best opportunities that are possible. Because look, you should never compromise on your goals. You should never compromise on what you want to achieve. You must never compromise on your career objectives. You don't need to, because it is what it is. That's what I'm telling you. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe, turn on that notification button, keep watching those videos, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.